There's nothing a violin can't recover from, except for fire. Because of course when it's burnt, it's gone. Ashes and dust. But except for fire, there's no damage which can't be repaired. I've seen instruments smashed or splintered, blown up by bombs or shattered by shrapnel. I've seen instruments drowned by burst water butts or abandoned in drains. There are those less dramatically damaged, but damaged nonetheless, hurt by the passage of time. Sweat from the neck can dissolve the rabbit glue so that the bottom comes away. A chin rest clamped too tight can make the wooden side buckle. Then there are other things. Harms not visible to the naked eye. Slipped soundposts and skewed bridges. Hairline cracks or warping under the bridge where the tension is greatest. If a violin is badly damaged, you make a plaster cast of the inside to show the bumps and the lumps, the indents and the buckling. You work on the cast before you work on the violin. Smooth out the lumps, plane off the lumps and fill in the indents. Then you fit the thing and its negative back together. You take warm sand in a bag and clamp it to the violin and slowly ease it into the shape of the perfected cast. This takes many days, many weeks. The wood will split under too much pressure, so you must go slowly. Slowly. You can't just shove and push things back together. Each part must fit gently and exactly with the next. The balance must be perfect, or the music will be dead. My name is Dawood Al-Sulaiman, and one day I will be a luthier. I've always been good with my hands, making and mending things. And my father was a carpenter and told me that I would inherit his livelihood. He taught me how to care for the lathe, how to oil it and rub it, and each night to brush off the shavings and the dust. He taught me how to sharpen the skew chisel and wet the edge left by the emery using a slipstone. I remember the sweet smell of the wood and the warm smell of the oil and the bright wood curls he used to give me as a boy to play with. My father died when I was 7 years old. When I'm 9 years old, the Al-Aqsa Intifada begins. Suddenly, I'm not able to play in the streets with my friends as I used to do. I must stay at home with my baby brothers while my sister and my mother go to where the markets used to be, pawning their jewellery to bargain for food. My sister Layla is 13 and shouts at my mother. These jewels are her inheritance. Her dowry, who will marry her now? I tease her that no one will marry her anyway. With no one to thread her eyebrows, they grow black and thick and crawl across her face like hairy caterpillars. At night, we crouch down in the basement or under the table and shield our ears from the shelling and the rattling of the gunfire battle. Sometimes me and Layla make peace and sing together to the babies. Our favourite song that year is by the group Outcast. Sorry, Miss Jackson. Sorry, Miss Jackson. I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologized a trillion times. It is a silly song, but its words seem deep with meaning in the middle of these nights. One day, there's a break from shelling. And then 2 days. 3, and the city comes to life again. And people spring into action, making repairs, shoring up buildings, stocking up with food and gas, and exchanging news. I am sick of staying in with the babies. Now that's woman's work, and I'm almost 10, and with my father gone, surely that means I'm the man of the household. So I give Beetlebrow Layla the slip, and head into the street to search for my friends. And soon we're a gang. Ramsey, Hassan, Salim and I roaming around the streets, searching through the debris. In one room, must have been a shop. Perhaps Mr. Dajani's, we don't know. It's hard to tell what was what any longer. We find a whole crate of Coca-Cola. The bottle's dusty, but undamaged. A miracle. We dig around in the debris and soon we discover another crate. This time of table beer. We hole up in the basement and smoke discarded cigarette butts and get drunk on a bottle of beer apiece. We're 9, 10, 11 years old. Little boys playing at being men. And we get to boasting, as little boys do, of what men we are. And Yusuf, fat, sallow Yusuf, who has been running after us all day, wheezing his chesty cough, claims to have done it with a girl. Akita! You wouldn't know what to do if Yusra or Jala Fahami took off their clothes in front of you. And he claims that he would. And we say, prove it. And he says that his Ami and Baba have a video, a dirty video, a porno, in fact, that sometimes they watch when he goes to bed. And as soon as we hear this, we are clamouring to see it. And Yusuf has no choice but to go home and get it. And Ramsey goes with him to make sure that he can't escape or make excuses. And Salim's uncle has a portable DVD player. And Hassan's dad's shop sells batteries. So off we go on our mission, and we promise to meet back at Mr. Dejani's in an hour. Now, it would be an easy excuse and an easy ending for poor Yusuf if the shelling had started again and we could not reconvene. But it doesn't. The ceasefire seems to be holding, and one by one we creep back into our hideout. Salim with his uncle's DVD player, Hassan with his dad's batteries, and Ramsey and Yusuf with the precious DVD. And we gather around and we are excited. Oh man, we are excited. We've never seen a porno before. We know these things exist. We have an idea of what they are, but we've never actually seen one, despite what we'd like the others to think. We prop the DVD on the upturned crate, open the lid and insert the unmarked DVD. And Yusuf, by now, has gotten over his tears and is puffing his asthmatic chest with pride, insisting that he be the one to press play. It's my uncle's DVD player, so I should be the one. But the machine is nothing without my dad's battery, so I should be the one. In the end, we all press play. Our sweaty little fingers squeezed on top of each other. And the machine clicks. And whirs. And the film loads. And a woman's naked titties appear. And we are round-eyed, speechless, breathless. Oh man. And the camera zooms in on the naked titties. Naked titties fill the screen. But then, a naked baby. And the baby suckles on the titty. And a commentary begins. The DVD is Yusuf's Ami's breastfeeding tutorial. And it's now that the shelling starts again. After a respite of 59 hours, just as we're chasing Yusuf out into the street, a rocket lands less than half a block away. Me and Ramsey are the last out, so we dive back into the basement. Ramsey shits his pants. And when the shelling stops, and we creep out, dirty and stinking, our ears still ringing, it is to find Yusuf dead. And Hassan, and Salim, we know them only by Hassan's shirt. A red shirt with gigs. He was so proud of that shirt, his mother had to bribe him to take it off so she could wash it. Yusuf Ibrahim, Hassan Al-Salman, Salim Hussain. I think of them often these days. Think about how useful it could be if you could make a plaster cast of a man or a boy and sit in the evenings smoothing out his injuries until day by day he became himself again. A broken neck, carve a new one. A splintered back, no problem, just give me glue and patience and time. When I get home, my house had been hit also. My family... The master says I must learn to make music if I'm to be a luthier. I say to him, how do you tell the difference between a violinist and a dog? The dog knows when to stop scratching. I must learn classical music too. Sibelius, Grieg, Kakatori and Mendelssohn. I always wonder if a violin that's heard too much Scandinavian music will be homesick in this dusty land, yearning for the crisp moonlights and the ice-cold waters of the fjords. Or, if one brought back to hear the romantic music of Mendelssohn, will be destined for a troubled life, forever unhappy, filled with unrequited love. I used to like best the sabre dance by Kakatori. It's so quick, so alert, you feel the blood pulsing in your veins and your feet starting to twitch. There was a CD of klezmer music, but I told the master I would slice my own ears off rather than listen to it. White phosphorus ignites in the air, and when it comes into contact with the skin, it burns to the bone and beyond. It burns at 816 degrees Celsius and 1500 degrees Fahrenheit until the oxygen supply is cut off, but there's nothing left to burn. You can stand at the side of your street and watch your mother and your sister and your baby brothers melt and turn to smoke, and there's nothing you can do. I shouted this at him, and he said nothing. The master only has 3 fingers on his left hand. His hand was sliced open by shrapnel, and gangrene grew. One night a man came over to the workshop and amputated his thumb and his forefinger using a cigarette and a penknife. He picked up the CD and placed it on the upturned workbench. And then he left. When I was sure he was gone, I put it on, just to hear what these fucking Jews listen to. I wasn't expecting to hear what I heard. The klezmer music was wild, strange. It wasn't like any music I'd ever heard before. You could hear the moment where the musician's finger slipped. Somehow it felt more alive. Sadder, but more alive. The music was saying to me, sorry for your father's death, for your mother's death, for Layla and the baby brothers, for Yusuf, Hassan, Salim, and all the others. It was saying there are no words for sorry. But this is sorrow.